In the bustling heart of Delhi, India, stands an enigma forged in iron and shrouded in time. For over 1,600 years, it has weathered monsoons, scorching sun, and the winds of change. Yet, it holds a remarkable secret that has baffled scientists and historians for generations. While modern iron succumbs to decay and turns to dust, this ancient monument endures, almost untouched. Its surface is a deep, dark gray, showing texture and age, but one crucial element is missing. There is virtually no rust. This is the story of the iron pillar that refuses to corrode. How did ancient artisans, working in the 4th century, create a masterpiece that outlasts modern metallurgy? The answer lies not in magic, but in a forgotten science and an incredible level of skill. To unravel this mystery, we must travel back in time, to the golden age of the Gupta Empire, a time of immense cultural, scientific, and artistic achievement where the impossible was made possible. Imagine a forge glowing in the pre-dawn darkness more than 16 centuries ago. The air is thick with smoke. This was not ordinary ironwork. The pillar was constructed piece by piece, using a technique called forge welding. Skilled metallurgists, masters of their craft, heated chunks of wrought iron until they were white-hot and malleable. With rhythmic precision, they hammered these pieces together, bonding them into a single colossal shaft. The process was slow and arduous, a testament to immense patience and physical endurance. Each strike of the hammer was a calculated step, shaping and purifying the metal. This method trapped small amounts of slag and other impurities within the iron structure. Unbeknownst to them, these impurities contained the very key to the pillar's longevity. Specifically, a high phosphorus content, a byproduct of the unique smelting process used at the time. The final product was a 7-meter-tall, 6-ton monument of nearly pure iron, a marvel of ancient engineering. Originally, the pillar did not stand in Delhi. It was first erected in a place called Udayagiri. It was the centerpiece of a grand temple complex, a beacon of power and piety. This was the Gupta Empire, a period often called the Golden Age of India. Art, science, and philosophy flourished. Great universities like Nalanda drew scholars from across Asia. Mathematicians developed the concept of zero and the decimal system, changing the world forever. The pillar was a product of this environment, a symbol of an empire at its zenith. Its flawless construction and advanced metallurgy reflected the scientific prowess of the age. It was more than just a piece of metal. It was a statement of cultural and technological superiority. A monument meant to inspire awe and project the power of its patron across the land. And the patron was one of the most celebrated rulers in Indian history. The pillar bears a Sanskrit inscription in the Brahmi script, a eulogy to a mighty king. Historians believe it honors the Gupta Emperor Chandragupta II, also known as Vikramaditya. The inscription speaks of a ruler whose prowess was a fragrance that perfumed the southern ocean. It describes his great accomplishments and the extent of his influence across the subcontinent. The pillar was originally topped with a sacred image, likely of the eagle-like deity Garuda. This emblem, the symbol of the god Vishnu, was also the dynastic symbol of the Guptas. Thus, the pillar was a dvaja, or standard, proclaiming the king's devotion and imperial might. It connected the earthly king to the divine, a permanent marker of his glorious reign. The king's fame, like the pillar itself, was intended to be permanent and resistant to decay. Little did they know, the material of the monument would achieve this goal more literally than they could imagine. Centuries passed. The Gupta Empire, once so mighty, faded into the pages of history. New dynasties rose and fell, each leaving their mark on the land, but not on the pillar. The pillar stood silent, witness to the relentless march of time, a solitary survivor. It endured the fierce heat of Indian summers, its metal baking under the unforgiving sun. It was drenched by powerful monsoon rains, season after season, century after century. This constant cycle of wet and dry is the perfect recipe for rust on ordinary iron. Yet, the pillar's surface remained dark, smooth, and defiantly free of corrosion. The Garuda capital was lost to time, but the pillar itself remained whole and unyielding. It became a local legend, a curiosity that people regarded with a mixture of reverence and wonder. Its journey was not over. A new chapter would take it to the heart of a new empire. Around the 11th century, the pillar was moved from its original home to the city of Delhi. It was installed in the courtyard of what would become the Qutb complex, a new center of power. The new rulers of Delhi recognized the pillar's significance, not just as a trophy, but as a marvel. It stood as a testament to the advanced knowledge of the land they now governed. For centuries more, it remained, its true origin story fading, but its physical presence undeniable. When British metallurgists and archaeologists arrived in the 19th century, they were stunned. They possessed advanced industrial knowledge, yet they couldn't explain this ancient artifact's condition. They analyzed its composition, confirming it was 98% pure wrought iron, which should have rusted away. The mystery deepened. Theories ranged from unknown alloys to a unique, forgotten polishing technique. The pillar was no longer just a local legend. It had become a global scientific puzzle. In the 20th and 21st centuries, scientists returned with technology the original creators couldn't have dreamed of. They used ultrasonic tests to probe its internal structure, confirming the forge-welded construction. Electron microscopes allowed them to peer at the pillar's surface on an atomic level. And it was here, in the microscopic landscape of the metal, that they found the first major clue. The analysis confirmed the unusually high phosphorus content, far greater than in modern iron. This wasn't a deliberate addition, it was an accidental benefit of using charcoal and specific iron ores. But high phosphorus alone wasn't the complete answer. It was part of a complex chemical reaction. Scientists from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, pieced together the final parts of the puzzle. They discovered a microscopic protective film that had formed over the pillar's surface over centuries. A passive protective layer, an invisible shield created by the iron itself. Here's the secret. The high phosphorus in the iron acts as a catalyst. When exposed to the wet and dry cycles of the atmosphere, a unique process begins. Instead of forming typical, destructive rust, something else is created, a compound called misawite. This misawite layer is incredibly thin, just a few micrometers thick, but it's extremely dense. It adheres tightly to the metal surface, creating an impenetrable barrier against the elements. This passive film effectively seals the iron beneath, preventing further oxidation and stopping rust in its tracks. The process is incredibly slow, taking many centuries to fully form this perfect protective coat. It's a form of self-healing metallurgy, a happy accident of ancient craftsmanship meeting environmental chemistry. The ancient smiths didn't know the science, but their methods produced the perfect ingredients for immortality. So the pillar doesn't refuse to rust, it simply rusts in a way that creates its own armor. The iron pillar is more than just a historical curiosity, it's a masterclass in materials science. It demonstrates a level of metallurgical understanding that was lost for over 1,000 years. It represents a perfect union of purpose, material, and environment working in harmony over millennia. Modern engineers are now studying this ancient technology to create better, corrosion-resistant metals. The lessons from a 4th century monument could help build the bridges and structures of tomorrow. It's a humbling reminder that ancient does not always mean primitive. The artisans who built it may not have written down the formula, but they perfected the process. Their knowledge was practical, passed down through generations, and expressed through their incredible work. The pillar is their legacy, an enduring signature of their genius written in rust-proof iron. A silent monument that speaks volumes about the ingenuity of the ancient world. Today, the Iron Pillar of Delhi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site visited by millions. A protective fence now surrounds it to preserve its unique surface from human touch. For years, a tradition held that one could gain good fortune by encircling it with their arms. This tradition, however, began to wear down the pillar's protective layer, prompting its enclosure. It stands not just as a relic, but as an active teacher from the past. Its story challenges our assumptions about history and the capabilities of our ancestors. It is a powerful symbol of human ingenuity, persistence, and the quest for permanence. A 1,600-year-old masterpiece that solved a problem modern science still grapples with today. So the next time you see rust on old iron, remember this pillar and its incredible story. A story of accidental genius, a forgotten science, and an ancient pillar that refuses to rust.